Welcome back, everybody, to another outstanding special Simpsons edition of the Square Table Degenerates podcast. To my right, your left is Pat. Say hi, Pat.
Hello.
And then he's taking a break from doing his normal duties with his girl. There's Don, Big Don C. joining us. How are you, buddy?
What's up, everybody?
We're waiting on people to join us. We're at 0 viewers right now. That's okay.
Who cares? Oh my god.
So tonight we're getting into. Oh, there we go. They popped up to 2. Welcome to our viewers from around the world and Ohio, where we're all from. Now tonight we're going to get into some Simpsons talk. We're going to start out with comparing some of the main voice actors, Dan Castellaneta and Hank Azaria. And we're going to go over some of them characters. And there's some interesting tidbits about some of these characters I just noticed when I was doing some show prep for today that I think are kind of odd. And I think are pertinent to the woke culture of now.
And then we're also going to talk about our favorite episodes and characters and scenes too.
Janice is here. Hey, Janice, White Chipmunks. Check her out if you get a chance. So, Don, how old were you when you first watched The Simpsons? Can you hear me, Don?
Probably like 12, I'd say.
12, okay. Were you there from the beginning? Did you watch it like back in the Tracy Ullman days, or did you see it like back in 1990?
I remember it being on the Tracy Ullman show. I don't know for sure that I watched it. I just think I might have been kind of in and out the room because my parents watched the Tracy Ullman show. So I may have been in and out of the room and just remember seeing it.
See, I remember the Tracy Ullman show. I watched the Tracy Ullman show back then in the 80s, and I actually remember when they first debuted. I think it was 87 when they first debuted The Simpsons. Like, this is kind of odd because they were really crudely drawn and squiggly. You remember that, Pat?
Oh yeah.
Now, how old were you when you first saw The Simpsons?
So I didn't start watching. So when I was like 10, I think I was like 10 or 11 when the show first came on, and we actually were not allowed to watch The Simpsons because my mom thought that she didn't like how Bart Simpson was rude to his father, to Homer, and told him to shut up and stuff. So we weren't allowed to watch it for a while. Actually, we'd have to sneak it. And I had this little black and white TV in my room. I have to sneak it. So
how old? Let me ask you this: you're what? You just turned 40, right?
I will be 40 this year.
All right. So Simpson. What year were you born? 82.
81.
81. So you were 6 when you wouldn't remember the Tracy Ullman show.
Right.
So you were 9 when the Simpsons.
Right. So I was still.
And Open Fire came out.
Correct. So it wasn't until I want to say 93, 94 when my mom decided to give in. And that's when I think I started watching it.
Now, are you got how many brothers do you? How many siblings do you have total, including you?
I'm one of 3.
You're one of 3. You guys all boys.
And a brother.
You have a sister and a brother. Okay, you the youngest or the oldest?
I am the oldest.
You're the oldest. Okay, so your younger siblings didn't get to watch until later than either.
Correct. But then she like my mom thought that Beavis and Butthead was funny, so she's like, okay, so this is a little cruder than The Simpsons. I might as well let him watch The Simpsons. So then we started watching The Simpsons.
Yeah, I was. My parents were like that with pro wrestling back in the 80s. Like they wouldn't let me watch it from like 87 until like, and Married with Children too. They were like, I was not allowed to watch Married with Children until the 90s because thought it was very good. So I was like, I used to sneak in the.
See, that's another thing too. My mom thought that was hilarious, and Al Bundy obviously is crude and stuff. So she's like, you know what, fuck it.
And the funny thing about the Aaron watching TV shows back then is that like now I pretty much let my kids watch whatever. Like I don't give a fuck what they watch. Like I mean it's the weird thing to say, but I mean like I like the Family Guy and Simpsons and all that. This crude language and shit humor is funny to me. So I mean it's like they probably tell me more shows not to watch than I do them. But
how long have you been watching?
Wait a minute, your parents actually wouldn't allow you to watch TV?
No, I was allowed to watch TV. I wasn't allowed to watch pro wrestling. I wasn't allowed to watch Married with Children.
Yeah.
And then random other.
How many siblings do you have, Joe?
I got a younger brother. He's 5 years younger.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
You're 43.
I'm 40. I'm Tom Brady plus 9 months, so I'm 44. Yeah, but then,
what is your like? So your parents wouldn't let you watch certain shows. Like this is weird to me because my parents didn't give a shit.
Well, you also didn't have a TV until 1992, Don. Let's be real.
I've always had a TV, sir. Thank you.
You're non-cable having ass. When did you first
We
get
were
cable?
actually one of the first houses on my block to have cable.
You had Metro 10. You can afford cable there, North Coast. Everybody who's not from Cleveland is 100% not going to get that North Coast Metro 10 joke.
So,
which includes everybody.
So how old were you when you first started watching?
Well, I was like I said, I used to watch the Tracy Ullman show back in the 80s. It was on Saturday night.
Oh, you did say that.
And I remember the first episode of The Simpsons when they did that. They had a couple really crude ones. Leps in the House, Leprechaun TV. And then I remember when I watched the debut of Simpsons Roasting on Open Fire. I remember it was like December 89. Mm-hmm. And I remember it specifically because the date, they listed the date as the first time I seen a date is listed as 1990. They didn't list it as 89. For some reason, it listed as 1990, even though it was in 89.
Remember how crappy the first season was? That was a really...
Well, the first season with the animation, with the Conan O'Brien years, it was all written, it was all drawn and written in the States. So everything was squiggly. And they didn't have no computers back then, pretty much.
And it was the same voice actor, but he sounded different. Homer sounded different. He was like a little more...
And that's where we get into the debates or the topics tonight is Dan Castellaneta is the guy who does Homer. Now, the first season, when he did it, when he was like, boy, it's hard for me to do the Homer voice, but he changed the Homer voice from that voice to the more,
Sometime in season 2, he changed it.
Right, and then he kept going with the Homer voice, and it was, I really liked the new Homer voice.
And the writers really developed him, didn't really fully develop him until sometime in the second season, because for like all of season 1 and most of season 2, he would just be like, you just yell. All he would do is just yell at Bart or something. And that's basically, it was his personality. Hey, stop it. Shut up. And that's basically all Homer was. But then at some point they developed him into the lovable.
No more hand sanitizer, dude. Jesus
Don't worry about
that
that.
motherfucker will get you fucking high off hand sanitizer, bro.
Hey, jeez, if he's getting drunk off the hand sanitizer, buddy. I just seemed relaxed.
I don't know where you've been.
Save some for. I've been in some foul places, bro.
I don't know where you've been.
Some places you don't want to. Everybody's saying let Pat talk. That's true. Pat does deserve more airtime. I do get a lot of emails. Like most of the show emails are about Pat needs more time. So
yeah, because you talk too much.
I do talk a lot. People tell me that I talk a lot. Turn my mic down. All right. Hold on. I got that in somebody else's show. Let me see if I can turn the mic down here. Hold on. All right, is that a little better? I don't know if it changes. Left, can you hear me better now on the mic? Is that a little softer instead of ridiculous yet? Hey, Moose Gal in the house. We're just talking about some Simpsons here and Dan Castellaneta. Now, the other characters he did as well from the rip. Now, he did Barney. He did Barney too?
I did. Yeah, I know who they all do.
He did Barney Gumble. Barney is one of my favorite characters, man, because I could totally relate to just how he just drinks. He just goes all out. Mm-hmm. Angela's in the house. Welcome. First time I've seen Angela from work, where we work at a secret institution. But, man, yeah, so, who was we talking about? Oh, we talking about Barney Gumble. Yeah, dude, I can totally relate to Barney, man, because the way he just parties, dude, he just fucking throws down. And he will not be seen for weeks on end. He'll go on a huge bender, and Don, you were sneezing there for a little bit. Murph said Duff beer. Hell yeah. Duff beer for me.
Yeah.
Duff beer for you.
I'll have a Duff, and you'll have one too.
But yeah, Barney, I mean, when he first started, the first couple seasons, I think he had blonde hair. Do you remember that?
Yeah. And
then they slowly became, he was
blended into his skin, the hair. It was yellow, so it just blended it into his skin.
And the funny thing about Barney is Don's probably more Barney's body shape, I would say. You're basically built just like Barney.
I think he's based like comic book guy.
Oh, Don, you are just like comic book guy. I didn't think about that, bro. Dude, Don, do an impression of comic book guy.
Worst podcast ever, y'all.
This is of all the podcasts they've done. This is the worst
podcast ever, y'all.
Ever.
Fuck y'all.
And he gets so he looks just like him too. Look at him.
I think is he even still there?
He's still there, but he looks just like that motherfucker.
Or is he just ignoring us?
He looks just like that motherfucker. But yeah, dude, Barney, man, I really relate to that guy because remember the one episode when they were doing the America's Funniest Home Video thing, and Homer had Mr. Burns had the really big stage production, and then Homer did something where he bribed somebody, and then Molman had the football in the groin, and Barney did a really elaborate production. I was like, that was cool. Barney's like really exotic, and he's like deeper than people think, but at heart he just likes fucking helping people and getting drunk. You know what I mean, so I can really relate to Barney.
Yeah.
Don, what do you think about Barney? Is that can you relate to any of Barney, or are you more of a different kind of guy?
Yeah, not a Barney guy.
You just like the Barney. I don't think Castellaneta does not do comic book guy. All right, he also does.
Hank Azaria does.
Blue-haired lawyer. Oh, the lawyer that does all the when you're in the courtroom. It's like my client was guilty of nothing. That dude's fucking hilarious.
He does. He does Grandpa Simpson.
The lawyer's in like so many different episodes, and he always points out the funny.
And that's his name, the blue-haired lawyer.
Right.
He never gave him a name.
He never has a name. He just comes in there with his blue hair and his big nose, and he's like, "Well, my client is not pleading guilty to any charges." And runs off.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
you just literally described a Jew lawyer. I hope you realize that. Right?
Hey, we didn't write the characters.
Yeah, I mean, they're exactly. We didn't write them. All right, he's also let's see. Some of these guys are way too obscure for
Grandpa Simpson.
Well, we'll get the grandpa. Let's see.
I'm just telling you who he did. I can tell you who they did. You don't even need that.
Gil, oh, there's Gil too. Gil Gunderson. You know Gil from when our prices are sky high. The real bad businessman whose business always fails.
Oh yeah, that dude.
He always gets hurt.
He's like very suicidal.
Right. He's always trying to kill himself.
Like you think he's gonna pull out a shotgun at any second, and either go postal or.
I'm actually going to get into that, Moose Gal. We're going to talk about.
You know who else Dan Castellaneta?
Talk about Apu and that. What's that?
You know who else Dan Castellaneta did?
Who's that?
Santa's Little Helper.
That's true. We're going to get into that here in a second.
And
now he also does Grandpa Simpson, which is kind of most people know that by now. But when you're talking Grandpa and Homer, I mean they kind of have the same voice. Even if you watch some of the YouTube videos about Dan Castellaneta, you know, doing they'll break all the voices they do and stuff. He'll be like, "Well, Homer's like this, and then Grandpa's like this," because they're pretty much obviously relating the same character. But Grandpa's fucking funny, man.
Yeah.
Grandpa would have been dead by now, though. I mean, World War II vet. Most of these vets, Environmental Coffee House in the house. Welcome. Most of these guys are.
That's where I think King of the Hill is actually better than The Simpsons, though, for the simple fact they killed off Hank's dad eventually. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because The Simpsons has been on since the 90s or 80s, obviously. So like the characters are kind of based on that time frame. So at that time, I mean, if you start when they first started, 1977 was when Homer graduated high school. I mean, now Homer would be my age; he'd be graduating 95 or even later, depending on how. I mean, if he's 38.
They did kill off Maud Flanders though.
That's true. They killed off a couple people. In the
yeah, Ned Flanders' wife and Bleeding Gums Murphy died.
Homer's mom died too. Remember?
Homer's mom died. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do kill people, but the Simpsons
doesn't their own death. That don't count. She didn't actually die.
No, she died in the later one. She died. You haven't watched past the thing. They actually did kill her out.
Yeah. Maud? Yeah, she broke.
Yeah, Moose Gal, right? She doesn't like when they got rid of Maud. Yeah, that was a pretty crazy. The reason why I think her name was Marcia Wallace is the character who did Maud. She didn't want to drive from. I think she was like living. When I remember reading, she had to drive every week or something to go all clear out to LA where they did the voices and shit. This is back then before you could telecommute, so she couldn't. That's why they ended up killing her like that.
No. You know what? Marcia Wallace. She did Mrs. Krabappel.
Oh, that's right.
And I think they did kill off Mrs. She ended up passing away, but I think they did do something with the Krabappel character because of what you just said. She didn't want.
Maggie Roswell was her name, the girl who did Maud.
I think they killed her off, didn't they?
Yeah, the lady who did Maud.
And I think they killed off. And I think they killed off Mrs. Krabappel too because of what you just said.
Yeah, they killed off Mrs. Krabappel because the actress who played her.
She ended up passing away anyway, but I think they killed her off.
Right, but the Maggie Roswell, the one who did do played Maud, they killed her off in the show because she got sick of doing the commute for the voices. But she's done later voices in like the Ghost episodes, like when they do the Treehouse of Horror and stuff.
No, but I think Marshall Wallace.
Yeah, Marshall Wallace was different, and later on in the show.
But I think they got rid of Mrs. Krabappel before she died because she's
getting sick or something.
Either that or I think what you just said. I think you're saying why Mrs. Krabappel didn't want, or I think you're talking about the wrong actress. I think it was Marshall Wallace.
Right. Well, I just corrected that. The Maggie Roswell, the person who did Maude, was the reason why they killed her off in the show was because she didn't want to do the Community anymore. So they just said, you're talking 90s, Simpsons. That's 99. The episode of this when Maude died, they were at some kind of baseball. No, they were at a car race. They were like a NASCAR race, and they had these the hot dog gun girls were coming out, and Homer was fucking lit at the top of the stands. He's like, pick me, and he takes a ketchup bottle and he squirts a big target on his chest, and they all 21 hot dogs shoot, or it's a t-shirt gun, sorry. They all shoot it right at Maude, or right at Homer, and then Homer ducks to pick up something, and then all the t-shirts hit Maude, and then she falls over the railing and dies. It was kind of anti-sacrimonious, but it's kind of funny when you look back at the history of The Simpsons, how they did treat that and made, what's Mr. Flanders? What's his name? Made
Miss who?
What's the Flanders dad?
Ned.
Well, they made
Ned and Maude.
Yeah, they made Ned a single dad like that, just randomly because they wanted to. That actually made the show funnier, I think.
Rod and Todd.
Rod, Todd, and Maude, baby.
They held hands and skipped.
Also by Castellaneta had let's see, we have Groundskeeper Willie. That's one of my favorites.
Groundskeeper Willie.
Groundskeeper Willie. If in Scotland we don't like the fucking Scots, we kick them all out.
Remember when he ripped off his shirt and he was like all ripped? He's all buff.
He was talking to Lunch Lady Doris, and that was the grease episode. They had all this grease. And he rips off his shirt and goes, "Grease me up, woman!" And he runs through the vent. And he turns it.
And he goes in, grease me up. Oh, when Santa's little helper was stuck in the dust. And he goes, I think he fell through the thing.
My retirement grease! Because Homer and Bart were stealing the grease. Because they found out you could make money stealing grease from places. So they were stealing all the grease from the school.
Right. He also did Krusty the Clown.
All right, we're getting into Krusty. He also did a Hans Moleman.
I like Hans Moleman.
Dude, Hans Moleman is so fucking underrated in my opinion. One of my favorite ones. Do you remember the one of Don? Do you remember the one Hans Moleman when they were at the gay pride parade and they were talking about, oh, I'm gay for this person, and then Moleman's like, nobody's gay for a mole man, because he was at the gay pride parade by mistake and he was just trying to fit in. And
what do you got his football? He's known for getting his groin, having a football get kicked his groin and falling down.
Football, and then Dorito's in the house. Dorito and Lucha Libre, welcome, buddy.
Getting his groin kicked by a football and then wincing in pain, writhing in pain.
Moleman's so funny, man. I can watch Moleman all fucking day, dude.
Next to Ralph Wiggum, he's my next favorite character. Next to Ralph.
All right, Castellaneta also does Itchy. Now, does he do Scratchy too? It don't look like it. So he does the voice of Itchy. Itchy's the mouse or the is Itchy the mouse or the cat? Itchy and Scratchy.
I think it's the mouse.
Itchy's the mouse?
I think.
Itchy's the mouse, Scratchy's the cat.
Yeah.
This shit's so funny, man.
Like Tom and
like obviously Tom and Jerry parody. We can do a whole fucking episode of Itchy and Scratchy. That's how funny they are. But what episodes of Itchy and Scratchy were your favorites, dude? I like the one where he ties the rocket. It's like Itchy to the moon or something, and he fucking takes out with his tonsils and he puts a rocket on there and he shoots it out to the moon.
I don't know. They're all so, that was never my favorite part of the show, actually. Because they're all the same. I like the violence. So I think that, the violent humor.
Obviously, Dan Castellaneta did Poochie too, because Poochie was played by Homer in the show.
Yes.
But Don, do you remember the Poochie episode?
That's the one where Homer became the dog on the Itchy and Scratchy show, right?
Right. They were looking for a third.
Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie show.
They were looking for a third character to put on there, so they put on. They're like, oh, cat and dog. I'll call him Poochie, but not something that lame. So they did name him Poochie. Poochie's the dog. That episode's so fucking good, man. And then the next episode, they're like, Poochie goes back to his home planet. They just have a fucking a sheet of paper that goes up.
This is kind of I want to tell you my favorite scene. This is similar to what we're talking about because Dan Castellaneta did Homer.
Mm-hmm.
But did you ever see the one where Bart makes friends with John Waters, the gay guy?
Yes.
And he's trying to turn him. He's afraid he's
Gonna turn
homophobic, so he takes him to the steel mill.
The gay steel mill.
The gay steel mill, like, hey, we have a new guy at our. Hey, everybody say hello to Bart Simpson. Hello! And then
he's like, we work hard, we play hard.
Club Anvil. Yeah, you see the guy at the window. But he used to like, they're like, there's a spark in my hair. Get it. And the guy at the Speedo, he's carrying the
hot stuff coming through.
Hot stuff coming through. He goes, you guys are all nuts. Oh, you be nice.
Now that's a show that they couldn't probably get away with today.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You probably couldn't do that.
And we're going to touch on some of that here later when we get into some of the voices they don't do anymore. But woke culture, the Simpsons has kind of evolved. A lot of the 90s shows have, over the years. I mean, Family Guy even admitted it's like, we don't so much do the gay stuff anymore. But they don't really. That was a really good episode though, because Homer goes into the.
It was just like
the shop. There's like a shop. No, I think the beginning part of the episode is Marge finds a Civil War bottle their grandma gave her or something, and they take it to the antique shop. And the guy who's running the antique shop name is John, and he's gay. Homer starts liking him, and they hang out. And at the end of the episode, John saves Homer's life, and it's just real funny how they interact. And Homer, becomes accepting of the gay community because of the episode.
It was just so over the top. It was funny.
It was so good.
I mean, it's definitely one of the best Simpsons episodes, in my opinion. It's my favorite.
All right. He also did. Let's see. God dang it. Hold on. Get back to the characters.
Oh, there's a band episode. I'll get into that later on.
Oh, he does Krusty too. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. I mean, Krusty's obviously drawn the same way as Homer. They even touch on that in the episode. They
He's an alcoholic.
Draw him with the fucking ears and blue hair.
Me being on the show. You know that.
What'd you say, Don?
I was talking to this dumbass dog that keeps getting in my way.
Oh, well, just don't have the dog hurt you or put your face off or anything, bro. Don, do you like Krusty? Our internet connection's getting low.
Yes, I like Krusty. Krusty's one of the best characters on that show.
I like Krusty.
I like when Homer and hopefully, if you can't hear us right now, it's because our internet's. I got the little signal indicator says it was getting choppy. Sorry about that. But I like the one Krusty or the one Simpsons where they were going with the mob, and Homer was dressed up like Krusty. And they're like, you guys got to both go through the wheel together. So they get on that little bike, and they both go through the wheel. And then at the end, they throw the bike up in the air, and Homer just eats it. And the best part of that episode is they're like acting like they're going to kill Krusty, do all this shit. And he only owed him like $30. And he's like, okay, $30 is your change.
Right.
All that stuff right off the rip. Just
I like, remember the one where he finds out he's Jewish? He didn't talk to his dad. His dad disowned him because he became famous and he wanted him to be like a rabbi like him.
You're so Krustovsky. What are you doing? I love that fight. They killed off that guy, the Krusty's dad.
Well, I think the voice actor died in real life.
Oh, he was quite old.
But again, it was a one-off character, so that really don't count.
Right.
Krusty's dad was only in one episode. He's a one-off character. He's a throwaway.
Well, he's probably in 5-6 episodes, but yeah, he's.
But he's not. Yeah, he's.
All right, he also plays.
They should have killed off Mr. Burns.
No,
he can't never kill off Abe. I mean, if Dan Castellaneta dies, the show is probably going to end. It actually was renewed for 2 more seasons. They just said, so that's kind of cool. I'm not going to lie, man. I haven't really watched Simpsons in a couple of years.
Oh yeah, I stopped watching after like.
Not that I don't like it anymore. I just kind of forgot it was on, and then like.
Well, no, because it's not that funny anymore. I stopped watching after like the first 12 seasons are the best, and then after that it goes.
Oliver Closeoff's in the house. What's up, Ron? How's it going? Moose Gal says my favorite episode was the Homer. That was a good one too. That was the one where he was like, was that the clone one or the robot one? I can't remember. I'll have to look that one up. But he also plays Dan Castellaneta. Also plays Joe Quimby, Mayor Quimby.
Yes, yeah, he's
I'm Mayor Quimby.
He talks like JFK,
just like JFK. See, the problem with Mayor Quimby is that I am Mayor Springfield here.
He's an adulterer.
I am a 3-time convicted adulterer and a felon, but I keep getting reelected out of Springfield.
Vote for me.
Vote for Mayor Quimby. I can listen to Quimby. The way they treat Quimby is just so corrupt, and it's hilarious. Pat gets this all the time. Your friend looks like the midget from Game of Thrones. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually one of his lines in this. That's actually one of his openers in the stand-up act. Is the Tyrion Lannister. What's the guy's name? Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. That look like him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Moose Gal says it's the one where the crane in Homer's brain. Do you remember the crane in the brain episode?
Crane in the brain.
When Homer was real stupid and he's trying to figure out why.
Oh, and he got really.
Yeah, so they take him up to the hospital.
There's a crane in the brain.
Crayon, yeah.
Crane in the brain.
And he's like, Doctor.
Yeah, I thought you said crane in his brain too. That's why I'm like, I don't remember that. The crayon in the brain, I remember.
And then him and Lisa.
When they pulled out the crayon, he got super intelligent.
Right. Well, he goes up to Dr. Hibbert, and Dr. Hibbert's like, well, see, the thing is, I was always reading holding your X-rays like this, and his finger was covering up where the crayon was, and then they cut back to when he was little, and he was just taking fucking Crayolas and pounding up his nostrils like one. So this crayon is stuck in his brain this whole time. And then it gets removed, and Homer becomes super intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Lisa bond. My favorite part of that episode is when he goes to Mo to re-put the crayon in his brain.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, and he's like, defense, And then Mo's like, that's pretty dumb. And he pounds the crayon in a little bit more. He's like, extended warranty. I can't lose.
Yeah, and remember, like, him and Lisa became best friends because he got to be as brainy as she is, so they got to be. Like,
and he got to relate to her world, and he wrote her a note, if I ever become dumb again. And then at the end of that episode, he jumps to the front window. Who wants lottery tickets?
Yeah, right. That was always my favorite part about Dr. Hibbert, because he laughed at things that you shouldn't laugh at.
Right.
He's like, you're gonna die.
Castellaneta also does The Rich Texan, was fucking hilarious. Hee-haw!
Yeah.
Every time there's something going on, he just shoots his gun off.
Overzealous, yeah. Woo-wee!
They'll explain like why he's even in Springfield. He's just a billionaire from Texas, just randomly hanging out in Springfield. Never has any continuity to the plot, except he's always there shooting his gun off.
Right.
I don't even like shooting guns. What episode? I just like to dance. Yeehaw!
He also did Sideshow Mel, not Bob Mel.
All right. He also did Castellaneta. Also, we're talking. One episode of The Simpsons when Homer was writing for the newspaper, and it was the food critic.
Yeah.
And dog. It says, hey, look. If you're out there, we're still here. One or two. There we go. Two. Yes, we're going to get into that, Moose Gal. She said, is this the right one? Is the right studio here? Show.
What is
Instead All right, sorry about that. You guys still here? Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Anybody still here? Did everybody leave? Did everybody leave? We're still here. All right. If everybody's still here, press 1. Press 1. I have shitty internet. It's AT&T. We're still here. Everybody's back. All right, so we were just talking about Santa's Little Helper. Now, sorry about that. If you're just joining us back again, we had a little 4-second delay in the internet there. Can you guys hear me now? I'm on the backup. I'm trying to get the internet working. We're on the emergency camera. Say hi to Pat. I know the regular feed fucked up, so maybe we can get this to work. Hold on. If you can hear me, type 1. Type 1, press 1 or something. I think we can see people from the emergency camera. Streamer's coming back. Hold on, guys. All right, yep. Janice said she could see us. We lost 3 viewers. That's okay. That's okay. We're coming back. You know what should happen? Just go, whoa.
Hey,
Whoa. One add to stream. This one removed. All right, there you go. Sorry. Whoa, shit. All right, sorry about that, people. We, man, that was a fucking, that was a disaster. But you know what? It's a live show. Internet happens. I'm not fucking Saturday Night Live. I don't have that kind of money. We were just talking about Santa's. That was awesome.
I think Howard Stern would be a better comparison since we're a podcast and not a variety act.
That's true. Well, Pugo, we the reason why I know how to do it so fast is because, man, I've had some guests on and the internet has went out like right in the middle, man. If the Ricky Williams episode, man, I had him live and I was freaking out, man. It just fucked up and oh my gosh. Well, the last 3 years who are still here are going to hear the rest of the show at least. Hopefully some people will come back and join us. But so we're getting back to we talked about Santa's Little Helper and the Chewy. What else did he talk? Just the rough? Ruff.
You just dog noises.
Now, do you remember the episode when Santa's Little Helper was replaced by Laddie?
Yeah.
Dude, that episode,
I felt
type dog. So bad for him after that, man. Oh, man, it sucks if you dropped all those viewers. But yeah, so in this episode, Laddie was
Collie.
Yeah, Bart was getting a bunch of mail and he faked this credit card to a Santo. God, this internet drops again. I swear to fucking God. If you're out there on YouTube and you hear that, just don't delete it. YouTube filters or whatever. I'm just trying to have a good time, man. I'm just a couple guys in the studio trying to have a show with the internet, man. I mean,
he's just frustrated with his.
Right. It happens. I'm not really going to kill anybody or whatever I said. I can't remember what I said. What I was even talking about.
Talking about the Laddie.
Oh, we're slowly building. Oh, that's right. So in the episode, Bart just gets a bunch of mail and he fills out one of those prepaid credit card offers. And he's looking around and he writes Santa's Little Helper as the name on the card. So he gets the card in the mail, it comes back Santos Al Helper. I think he's a Hispanic dude or something. And Bart starts charging all this shit from this catalog. And he orders this really expensive dog named Laddie. And the family starts liking Laddie. And when all the credit card bills are come due, they say, what is this the dog, the expensive dog? They go, that one. And they take Santa's little helper. Well, they grab Santa's little helper, and he's still smiling, and they put him in the back of that truck. Mm-hmm. Man, that was so sad, dude. I felt like I wanted to punch Bart. That was a dick move by Bart, dude.
That was a dick move. Yeah.
Why would he do that to fucking poor poor dog, man?
Bart could be a dick.
I don't know. That episode made me cry almost. Andrew's in the house, Berlal. What's up, buddy? All right, so Santa's little helper, Scott Christian. Oh, he voiced Sideshow Mel. Now, Mel was the... Was he the earlier? There was a later one, right?
So Sideshow Bob was Kelsey Grammer. That was the one who went like...
That was Boom. Okay. And then Sideshow Mel was obviously the bone in the hair, the later one. Okay.
Recent Boom what?
When Sideshow Mel would always... or Kelsey Grammer would always step right into the rakes.
Right. Yeah.
Right in his face. Every time I think about a rake, I think about that. Not those are those hard rakes. What are those called? Not those ain't rakes, are they?
Those are rakes that he stepped into.
I'm saying, like when I think of a rake, I think like a leaf rake and rake. Or what are those?
That's what he stepped into.
They're both called rakes, though.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was also the Yes guy. I don't remember that. Yes. And Martin Prince. I didn't know he did Martin.
You didn't do Martin.
Martin Prince Sr. Okay, so Martin dad.
One of the ladies did. The ladies did the children.
Yeah, I think it was Lisa Cartwright or Nancy Cartwright.
No, actually, the lady who Rusty Taylor, who passed away, did Martin Prince. And I think somebody took over her voice.
All right, so let's see. Now one of these I think was we'll get into some of this when we talk about Hank Azaria. Now, right off the rip, you guys know who Hank Azaria is. He was in. Is anybody else like Fat Tony? Fat Tony was played by Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Great fucking character. I love Fat Tony.
That was a good.
I like when he's like, if you want any money laundered, please leave it outside your door.
He was the original Tony Soprano.
That was his original choice, was he?
No, I'm just saying he was Tony Soprano before that. Yeah, before 10 years before. He preceded Tony Soprano by like 10 years. That was a good character, yeah.
Now, Hank Azaria, this is weird because I haven't seen after episode 29. This is where we're going to get into what Moose Gal was talking about earlier, about how some of the woke culture has kind of changed the Simpsons a little bit. Now,
yeah, I want to go into the band episode.
Hank Azaria used to voice, Hank Azaria, obviously you guys know he's the actor that was in Iron Man and many other movies. He's been Iron Man in all the Iron Man movies.
What did Hank Azaria do in Iron Man?
He was Iron Man, wasn't he?
No, that's Robert Downey Jr.
Wasn't Hank Azaria in one of those movies, though?
No.
Wait, you're right. Well, I really fucked that one up. Friends. He was on Friends.
He was in Friends. Yeah. Iron Man Friends. I can see how you get those mixed up.
Wasn't he in a superhero movie, though?
I could have. Oh, yeah, he was in Mystery Men with Ben Stiller, if you count that as a superhero.
I'm gonna look up Hank Azaria real quick. I want.
Did you ever see
the movie you just mentioned?
Mystery Men?
No.
It's like a group of misfit heroes.
The Birdcage, Godzilla, Mystery Men, America's Sweetheart, Shutter Glass, Along Came Polly, Run Fat Boy Run, Night at the Museum, The Smurfs.
Oh yeah, it was Gargamel. Was
it Mad About You, Friends? I guess he wasn't in any super. He looks just like fucking Robert Downey Jr. Well, that's pretty unepic of me to get those two mixed up. Yeah, regardless, he was in Friends. But so what we just talked about this is what Moose Gal was just mentioning. Hank Azaria was the voice of Apu Nahasapi Mapedalon. And obviously he was very stereotypical accent.
Thank you, come again.
Yeah, thank you, come again. I mean, anybody can do a fucking knockoff Indian convenience store accent. And 4 years ago, I haven't really seen the new one, so I don't really know who he voices the new guy. But it says in season 29 he quit doing it. I haven't watched. I'll have to watch that documentary she's talking about because I remember I flipped out on Facebook for no reason. But I was like, what are they going to do? Why is this woke culture killing it? Maybe they probably just get a different guy to do it. But Moose Gal, any idea what the new voice is or? Give me a brief synopsis of that movie because I remember the whole incident, but I honestly haven't paid attention to The Simpsons after that.
Oh, so he has a different voice, or they just don't do the character?
Yeah, I think he has a different voice. let's see here. Let's go into.
It's too offensive.
Let's see. Supima Petalon is filmed by. Let's see. Hopefully, no ads come up and fucking. Good thing. Controversy. God damn it, the fucking hell. All right, here we go. Controversy. In 2016, there's this guy, Komo Kanda Bolu, announced his intention to make a documentary about how the controversial character was created in The Simpsons. And he created an hour-long documentary, The Problem with Apu. In the film, he interviews a bunch of actors and comics of South Asian heritage about the impact that the character of Apu has had on their lives and perception of South Asians in American culture. And then on The Late Show, Azaria said he would be perfectly willing to step aside from voicing Apu. And let's see. He said there was an episode first aired April 8th, 2018. No Good Read Goes Unpunished was a response to the film. Let's see. Well, I guess they don't have. I guess they just took them out. Did they? I mean, I haven't seen one since then. They just totally wrote them out.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch.
I mean, season 29. I mean, I stopped watching it long before that. So
I mean, I've seen. I mean, up until 2015 show, I pretty much watched it every week.
For a while, it just stopped getting funny for me.
Yeah, so I'll have to check into that. So yeah, Apu was basically written out of the show because they didn't. He just kind of ran his course. Well, they say he was a trivia about Apu. He's a vegan. It says in one episode he said he was a Bengali, in another episode he was Hindu, and he owns a Halloween store called Official Halloween Headquarters. Do you remember one of my favorite episodes of Apu? One of the early ones when it was with Homer in the Quickie Mart when they go to see the main Quickie Mart guy, and he has like, you have 3 questions. Mm-hmm. He's like, are you really the main Quickie Mart guy? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. You have one more question. It was just. Because in the journey they had to walk up this entire mountain to go to the top of the hill.
Right.
And to get up there, and he wastes these 2 questions.
2 questions on him.
Stupid ass thing right in the middle.
I remember that. That was funny.
It says the Simpsons star made headlines was announced, no longer voicing the character Apu. Quietly phased out years ago. Yeah, it's kind of, they didn't really talk about it. Like we were saying, the woke culture just kind of changed it, and they don't really talk about it. All right, so also voiced by Azaria, who we learned was not in Iron Man.
I mean,
also,
you just learned that. I knew it.
No, this is interesting. He still voices Bumblebee, man.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you argue?
Me gusta.
Now, wouldn't you argue? I would argue that Bumblebee Man's kind of stereotypical too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but that's not really. It's like the Hispanic culture is a lot easier to overcome because, like, there's so many Mexicans and whatever in the United States that it's second nature to that. And somebody just doing accents, whatever.
Right.
But like the South Asian stereotypes, that I can see why they would want to remove that. I mean, do we like it? You know, no, but I mean, the 90s ain't here no more, and it's whatever. I mean, The Simpsons, if we're being dead honest with ourselves, probably jumped the shark, middle of 2005 or something soon after that, I mean, just keep an eye on it. Now it's kind of just fun to see how they go with it. And they do get a little preachy in some of the episodes, but it is what it is. Network TV is hard anymore. It's really hard to entertain and not piss off somebody. Mm-hmm. Like, even if you talk about, like, oh, I'm going to talk about, White Barn candles. And they're like, oh, why is it got to be called White Barn? Why can't it be Black Barn? Why is it got to be a barn? Why can't it be a fucking shed? You know what I mean? People will be pissed off about anything. So, like, trying to entertain, especially with something as ubiquitous as a cartoon in 2021, it's kind of next to impossible, really. Like, you remember back in the 90s, anybody, when the internet first came up, like how South Park started, mm-hmm. It was just a short, somebody just drew on a sheet of paper and they fucking moved it back and forth and that was it. You can't do that anymore because the lowbrow humor is just not there, and everybody gets offended by everything, man.
It's funny. It just doesn't seem that long ago, the 90s, but it seems like a different time than now. It's just
it literally seems like fucking 10 years ago. Like
it does. It doesn't seem like it was
1990.
Going on 3 decades now.
1999 was 23 years ago, almost 22 years ago.
I know, that's when I graduated high school.
That's insane when you think about it, dude. It's already.
I don't like it, man.
Dude, it's already 2021, man. It's crazy.
I don't like it.
Murph writes, would you like any deep fried pork product to go with your large orange squishy? I like the one Simpsons where Homer goes in and he's like, Apu, do you have that gum with the cracked little center? He's like, such a product does not exist, sir. But am I introduced in more impulse like this by the fridge? I like the one where Homer's going into he gets a donut and then he goes to the topics thing. He's like, well, this is not a sprinkle. A mountain's bar is not a sprinkle. A Twizzler is not a sprinkle. Here's all the shit.
Yeah. Don't.
That is still just such a funny, and it was never really. I mean, it's kind of negative the way they talk, but I mean, if you look at the Apu character and the way they, his work ethic, he's a really good family man.
He has 8 kids.
Right, he takes care of all his kids.
Octuplets.
That's there's positive aspects to Apu.
Remember that he knocked up his wife and she had 8 kids.
Then
Octuplets.
Then he cheated on her with the squishy lady.
Yeah.
Apu, scratch and win. Oh man! All right, so moving along with Azaria's other characters, Bumblebee, yeah, we did that. Horatio McAllister, not really sure who that one is.
You a comic book guy?
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Now it says he did Carl Carlson, season 1 to season 31. Now did Moose Gal? You've seen the. I'll have to look this up.
Oh yeah.
Did they just write Carl out, or he just quit doing Carl?
I wonder. Because Carl is a black guy and he's doing.
It says here too. Later on, he also does
a white
Lou.
guy doing a white guy doing a black guy voice.
He also does Lou, the cop, who's a black guy from seasons 1 to 31.
Yeah.
So I bet you season 32, Azaria either did or had he just quit doing them, or they wrote the character out.
Probably had too many complaints from groups.
That's so nitpicky though. Like just because I mean they did that.
Probably the same reason why he's not doing Apu anymore.
That's the reason they don't do the Cleveland show anymore. Is because fucking Seth. What the guy's family guy's name?
Seth MacFarlane doing.
Yeah, MacFarlane was doing the voices in the Cleveland show.
Cleveland Brown. That's his name.
Go Browns, right? Yeah. It's fucking Flanders. Did Flanders ever get remarried? I think he did.
Did he? I don't think he did. Maybe he did.
I think he did. The one episode with. Oh, that's right. Remember the one episode when he had the damn it, I can't remember this episode now. He was because it was Edna Krabappel, wasn't it? Didn't he date Edna for a while?
He might have.
Yeah,
I know Skinner did.
It was him and Edna got married, I think. I'll have to look this up now. Gosh dang it.
Yeah, they got married.
No. I think he married the other.
Getting remarried. He has diploma from Oral Roberts University. That's funny. I gotta think now. Dang it, filling his job. Hurricane. This is great TV. Me looking at Wikipedia. Now, have you seen we're sidetracked with Flanders here, but have you seen the band, the Flanders or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of people dressed up like fucking Flanders just rocking out to death metal. I don't think they've toured recently, but he did Leos or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. Moose Gell writes 2 actors voiced Carl Carlson. That's what it says. I don't know who the second one is. I mean, they had to bring a black guy in to do it if they brought out Azaria.
From season 23 until her retirement in season 25, Edna Krabappel was married to Ned Flanders.
Okay, that's what I thought they got
She
married.
was 41 years old.
Yeah, Ned was a senior citizen.
Senior citizen. He was 60.
Man, so what did Ned do from the time when he had Rod and Todd, like before that? I mean, because he had him in his 50s when he had Rod and Todd. So that's crazy when you think about it. So there's a good fucking 30 years just wandering the desert or some shit.
Remember how much Homer hated Ned Flanders?
Oh, yeah.
That was always funny.
That's so fucking funny.
I like when he was driving with Flanders in the car, and then he hits something like a big bump. He goes boom, boom, and Flanders is like, "What's that?" He goes, "I hope it was Flanders." Forgetting that he was in the car, he's like, "I'm right here, Homer."
It's like his beer reviews writes
over Flanders.
Do you remember the one where they go to Vegas And they get married. That's right. He got married in Vegas too. Remember?
That's right.
And he's white Ryan Spritzer.
I think that's when they found out he was 6 years old.
It's like, dude, you married? He's like, I alkali, smokely do.
Dilly.
You take this cocktail waitress that you just met to be your wife.
Did you know there's a heavy metal band, like a death metal band called a Ned Flanders themed death metal band?
Yeah, that's what we're just talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was the internet. Oh, hopefully the internet doesn't go bad again. Stand by. Or every.
Oh, that's right. That's what you were talking about. Okay. I thought you were talking about.
The internet was saved. Good call.
I thought you were talking about that was on the show. My bad.
The internet just saved itself. I like it. Yeah, the Leftorium was with Ned Flanders. We just talked about Ned for a while. The Leftorium closed at first when the Leftopolis opened right next door. Remember that?
And then Homer was a dick for no reason. He wanted to shut that store down for no goddamn reason.
Homer was always
he was a dick on that show.
Ned was always so forgiving of Homer no matter what Homer did.
Yeah. He was a complete dick to him.
Just like a straight down. Do you remember the one time when there was the heat wave and they were trying to stay cool and Homer stole his air conditioner? He's like, I don't mean to be a prickly pear, but did you steal my air conditioner? And he's like, what makes you say that? And there's you look at Ned's house, there's a giant chunk ripped off the wall.
Right.
And there's footprints leading up to Homer's house and two boards propping up the air conditioner.
Remember when he was remember at his church? No, it was Reverend. I always get him mixed up with Reverend Lovejoy, but it was funny when Bart switched out the church music to Inagata Vida and they were singing that whole song.
When the organist was playing it, she's like,
yeah. And it goes 17 minutes later.
My favorite part of that was when the organist finishes it and she's like, and she just passes out because she's so tired.
What about when Reverend Lovejoy goes, wait a minute, this sounds like rock and or roll music.
This sounds like rock and or roll. And then Homer's like, Marge, remember we used to make out to this hymn?
Homer? Homie?
That just reminded me of, do you remember, we were talking about Barney earlier. Do you remember when Barney was at the party and he got drunk and he dressed up like Marge? Mm-hmm. And he walked down the stairs. He's like, okay, Homer, it's time to go to market. And he falls. That is so fucking funny. Can you imagine doing that? That's something I would so do at a party too. It's like walk over to your house at a party. Okay, Pat, time to go to market.
You look like Homer when that one day when you were doing put the wig on and shit. You had a blue wig on.
Oh, this is for this year. It must be season 32. So the Simpsons will be recasting black characters with black actors and new voices for Carl Carlson, Lou, and Dr. Hibbert.
Yeah, probably after Black Lives, all that yelling.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it could work. I mean, honestly, the Simpsons probably has a free pass to be on for as many seasons as they want at this point.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the seasons. I'm talking about.
No, I'm just saying
changing the voices.
Yeah, but I'm saying so. I mean, they'll do whatever they want, and they're just gonna air forever. I mean, it's not like you're gonna take them off because you got new actors. Mm-hmm. But Azaria also was voicing. Let's see. God, he does a lot of people, dude. Clancy Wiggum.
Yeah,
Chief Wiggum is so funny. He's based on. What, there was a cop, was it Bogart? Humphrey Bogart?
No, he's actually based on Edward G. Robinson. His voice is supposed to be. Do you know who that is?
Nah, it doesn't ring a bell.
Edward G. Robinson was an actor from the 30s who is known for playing gangsters. And voicing this. You hear the...
That's right.
See? Yeah, that's Edward G. Robinson.
Okay. That was always my go-to voice when I was impersonating somebody from the 40s.
And
what are you doing there, Saggy?
When Hank Azaria was trying to, playing around with the voice, he thought he'd be funny if he voiced him like that, even though Edward G. Robinson played gangsters mainly and Wiggum's a cop, but it worked anyway. So.
Moose Gill writes, did The Simpsons jump the shark? Yeah, I mean, at this point.
Doesn't every show?
Every show does eventually. If you're debating years, some people say right around 98, 99, 2000, somewhere in here. I would say 2008, 9. I mean, it just depends on
maybe even earlier.
how long. I mean, it depends on how you like the writing. If you like when they started talking about more, social stuff, social commentary stuff. I still like. I mean, I can still watch any episode of The Simpsons now, and I still like it. I mean, some people didn't like the Lady Gaga episode. I thought that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Lisa Gaga. Did you ever see that?
No, I never see
It was actually, I think it was voted one of the worst ones ever.
You know what? Like I said, I stopped watching after like season 12. Like, I haven't stayed loyal to the show.
That's why most people are. Though. They usually watch the 90s and they remember that, and they just don't watch anything after that.
The 90s obviously was the best time for it.
But getting back to Wiggum, there was one that you haven't seen, I guarantee, because it's recently. But Wiggum's sitting there in the police office, and he accidentally orders his jetpack. It was intended for a general, General Clancy Wiggins. And so he gets his jetpack. He plays Sky Police, and he's sitting there in the station with this jetpack on. It's been like a couple weeks later, and Luke comes up. He's like, "Chief, don't you think it's time to take that thing off? It's starting to smell." You gotta watch if you're out there and you get a chance, watch the Sky Police one. It's so fucking good. Twist the characters. I don't know if Ms. Moose. I kind of like the way they kept it. Because like after South Park, when they went from third grade to fourth grade, and they started aging, it kind of lost a little bit luster for me. I know it seems weird year after year that they're still in the fourth grade or third grade and fifth grade or whatever the hell they are, Bart and Lisa are, but I kind of like that continuity. Like The Simpsons, no matter what's happened through my life, like I've lost pets, I've lost parents, friends, etc. Bart's always had, Santa's Little Helper. So I've always had Santa's Little Helper. That dog would be fucking dead in 1998. I mean, it's still 2021. He's still around. It's kind of like harkens back to the youth. You know what I mean? Like it's like a time capsule, just keeps going and going and going forever. It really is a national treasure, man. The Simpsons probably is my favorite show of all time, if I'm being dead honest. Now, there's nothing in terms of longevity and funniness and reference or not reference. What's the word?
I know
relevance.
I know longevity is what you were trying to say.
Yeah. I think you can't beat The Simpsons in terms of that. There's no way. I mean, even as a cartoon.
I mean, it's definitely paved the way for all these other cartoons. It's the granddaddy of all those.
Oh, without The Simpsons, you don't have fucking King of the Hill. You don't have South Park. You don't have Beavis and Butthead. You don't have
Family Guy,
Ren and Stimpy. I mean, anything after The Simpsons is a pioneer for cartoons. Nothing.
Oh yeah, there wasn't really anything like that before. I mean, it's definitely a ground.
Now,
trailblazer.
Were you old enough to be when Bart Simpson T-shirts came out?
Oh yeah.
Bart Simpson, who the hell are you?
Oh yeah, I had one of those. I don't have a cow, man.
I think I had that one. I had one that said, it might have been the Don't Have a Cow one. Don't Have a Cow, or there was another one, the Black Bart Simpson. You remember the Black Bart Simpson shirts? It was so silly.
Oh yeah.
The 90s is a weird time for shirts.
Oh yeah.
But Azaria also did Cletus Buckler. You know Cletus, right?
Oh yeah. Hey, look at that pointy haired little girl.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Now, if they're getting rid of the East South Asian characters, you can make an argument that Cletus could be gotten rid of because that is.
Oh yeah, that's what it's really. Oh yeah, you can make it. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you get rid of Cletus, if you start getting rid of characters like Cletus, though, you're going to lose the essence of the show because making fun of white people is kind of what that's all you got left in it at a certain point. We're watching. If you're out there also watching Friday Night Throwdown, we got it up on the big screen, so I'll probably join that after we're done here. But Don, if you're out there too, man, fucking pop that guy. I think Don is. And I can tell you what he's going to do right now, but he's probably face first in some,
Please go on.
He likes doing it. No, let's stop.
No one knows what you mean.
Yeah, dude, I like when the one episode of when they were doing Cletus was naming off all his kids. He's like, that's Dingus Squatford Jr. That's WrestleMania. He has like 17 different kids.
After a while, he just decided to stop giving them actual names and just give them like nouns.
Right. Well, they actually ran with the one daughter character for a little bit. They made her kind of like a Britney Spears type.
Oh, did they?
Went to the big city and stuff, and Bart fell in love with her. That was later.
That was later on.
Yeah, that was probably 2004.
I'm vintage.
You're 90s only.
Maybe a little bit of the 2000s.
You did.
First episode ever.
We were just talking about how Big Don earlier, who was with us virtually for a little bit, but he had to go back to his duties.
He definitely has the shape.
Yeah, he doesn't have the voice or the demeanor. Well, he kind of does have the demeanor, actually.
The demeanor, not the voice, but the demeanor for sure.
He definitely has the shape and the demeanor. I mean, he's very. I mean, he's not. In the end, he's not a bad person, but he just kind of hates everything. And comic book guy is just like that.
Are you gonna buy that?
Moose Gal asked who are some of the worst characters on the Simpsons. So that's a good one. Who are some of your least favorite Simpsons characters? Do you remember?
Probably. I don't know. I thought there was too many bullies. Like they didn't need all those bullies.
So you think the whole group, like Jimbo and Kearney and Nelson, everybody?
Nelson, I like Nelson, but like they could have just had like Jimbo and Nelson, yeah. But they didn't need Kearney and the other guy.
I'm trying to think characters I didn't care for. Boy, that's a rough one.
And then remember Apu had like there was another guy.
Sanjay.
Yeah, he never said a damn thing. It's like why I even had him.
The thing about Sanjay, well, yeah, he wasn't there for every episode. Like he was only there a little bit.
It's Sideshow Mel. What was the point of him? Those characters that didn't really do anything. It's like
corporal punishment.
I remember him.
Some of the Krusty characters probably would be some of the obscure ones.
Sideshow Mel, we don't need him.
Some of the Mirror's henchmen were kind of they didn't really touch on those guys too much.
Who?
Some of the Mirror's bodyguards and stuff were kind of ridiculous.
Were they even characters?
I'll tell you who really should have got more of a thing. I would probably say is one of the worster or more not celebrated ones is that if you look at the bar, like when they're at Moe's, there's that dude in the green hat and a pink coat. That dude never talks, and he's kind of a bring down because every time they show him, he's either really drunk or just kind of fucking up the scene or something. So I would say that guy, and that's kind of an obscure one to be a character you don't care for, one of the worst characters, but he just doesn't really bring much to the show except backgroundness. He should give him some lines or something.
That's what I'm saying. Those background characters, it's like they don't even do anything. Well, obviously because they're hence the name background characters, but it's like, do we even need them?
All right, Azaria also does Old Jewish Man, who is fucking funny. You know, Old Jewish Man. That guy's always with the old Jewish lady. And they're always making fun of random things.
Oh,
like I can't hear you. What? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, he's like really wrinkled.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like missing teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And he like dances. Yeah.
In that one episode when Lisa and Bart go to rescue
I like that
the
guy.
people from the nursing home, they're in the wheelchairs on the fucking half pipe, just fucking around and shit.
Yeah, and then like he started that one episode where he kept on dancing and he couldn't stop, and they like threw out his back and he couldn't stop to take care of that.
All right, it says Azaria also does Disco Stew.
Oh yeah, Disco Stew.
Disco Stew doesn't advertise. Moose Gal writes Smithers and Mr. Burns are the ones. I like Mr. Burns is so diabolical that I just like the way he.
Very sure did Mr. Burns.
Yeah, I like the way Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns is a fun character. I like Mr. Burns.
Smithers, who is that?
Who is
that disheveled ape? I believe that's Homer Simpson, sir.
But who was we just talking about? We just talked about Disco Stew. Now the first episode when Disco Stew comes out, I think it's in one of the first 4 or 5 seasons, but they're at a garage sale, and Homer is selling this jacket that's supposed to say Disco Stud, and Marge is like, "Why does this jacket only say Disco Stew?" It's like, "Oh, I ran out of rhinestones to do the jacket." And then Disco Stew's walking by. I think at the time Disco Stew was only supposed to be a bit character because it was a great one-liner. But the guy's like, "Hey, Stu, that coat has your name on it." He's like, "Disco Stew, don't advertise." And then after that, Disco Stew was like a recurring character. I think he dated Milhouse's mom for a little bit. Okay. He was just in a lot of episodes and as a background. He's one of my favorite side characters. He just comes in every. Choppy connection here again. Oh yeah, this is
Oh, yeah.
Crashing at an alarming speed. Stay with us. Stay with us. We're back. We're back. The internet dropped again. Moose Cal writes, I think Mr. Burns and Smithers are secret lovers. Thoughts? I think, well, obviously Mr. Smithers loves Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
But I don't think Burns, that was one of the funniest jokes. Sorry about the internet. I was here for a second. That was one of the funniest jokes going through. Mr. Burns, you are quite good at turning me on.
Yeah.
You should probably ignore that.
Well, like, remember his, remember he has that dream where he's in the, he's like dressed as Marilyn Monroe. He's like, happy birthday, Mr. Smithers.
He turns around
And he's like, ah. He's in.
I think when the episode we were talking about earlier with John, when they're walking through the gay part and Smithers is there, he's like, well, hello. Is that the Mr. Burns you're always telling us about? I'll be nice.
I'll be nice.
I think he eventually came out, didn't he? Didn't he? It was the later episode when he came out when Mo was running the gay bar, or he turned the bar into Flaming Mo's or something like that, and he had all the gay people coming. That's when I think Smithers came out in that one because he was like, "If you really are Mo," because Mo was pretending to be gay to get all the people coming to the bar, and he was like, "If you really are gay, Mo, kiss me right now," and he kisses him, and Mo's like, well, not bad. Like Frisbee golf. I'm glad I tried it once.
Yeah, Mo is he's like a
lovable loser type.
Lovable loser, like Mo Selznick.
Sizzlack,
excuse me.
I like the one Simpsons where he's like, or should I tell him Momar? He's like implying it.
Remember that was the early it was like the early shake in the early seasons where Bart calls up Mo's Tavern and is like looking for Pat McGrain. It's Pat McGrain, yeah. I need a Pat McGrain.
Right,
I need Amanda hug and kiss.
He says he also does Dr. Nick Riviera. Hi,
everybody. Bye, everybody.
There's another one you could kind of, well, I mean, he's not really too stereotypical. It's just an accent, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like a Middle Eastern type guy.
The Dr. Nick is so funny. I like the one episode when Lisa is babysitting Bart and they break the leg, and they come into the Dr. Nick's office, and the snake is up there at the counter. He's like, "Yo, I was like tripped and I fell on a bullet." And it's like, you don't have to make up stories here. They save that later for court. And she's working down on there's like a sheet, a pre-made sheet, like liquor store robbery, and she checks it off. And then Lisa comes in with the wheelbarrow, and then he's like, "Little lady, the wheelbarrow line's over there." And they show comic book guy sitting there, fat as fuck, like, "Loneliness and cheeseburgers is a dangerous mix."
Right. Oh, you know what's another good one? Going back to Barney. Remember when they did a Cannes Film Festival type thing?
Yes, Richard, that's the football in the groin one. Yeah.
Yeah, football in the groin. But then Barney did one. It was like a black and white thing.
Don't cry for me.
I'm
already dead.
I'm already dead.
And then the fucking flower comes in. There's a fiend.
Yeah, fiend.
Now here's one that they didn't change according to this. Dredrick Tatum, the character that's the Mike Tyson character, is voiced by Hank Azaria. So they're going to change that?
Oh yeah, does he talk at all?
Yeah, he's like. Do you remember when Homer was going to fight Tyson or fight Dredrick Tatum? He's like, "I'll make orphans of his children."
Oh yeah.
Sounds an interesting one. They might have to keep Azaria for that one because that's a hard voice to do. Well, anybody can do a Tyson voice, I guess.
Make orphans for his children. Totally.
Azaria also does the great Gabbo, who's in many shows.
Gabbo.
With the puppet.
That was the one that was the episode where Krusty was going to get canceled and he was going to take over the show. And they got Johnny Carson and some other people.
Moose Kellis is my favorite line. Did you know that Disco Records? It was, I guess, set the background for this one. There was Marge was starting a small business with all her friends, so she opens up the pretzel wagon. But she goes to this business expo, and at the business expo, Stu's sitting here with the sales pitch. He's like, "Did you know that disco record sales were up 400% year ending 1976? If these trends continue, hey!" He's sitting there with this chart. This is disco record sales, and the line just goes straight up. And then Marge and Homer's like, "Are those fish in your shoes?" "Oh, no, they're dead."
Right.
Giant aquarium shoes and shit. Brian says, "I'm in the Simpsons encyclopedia." My kids actually know a lot about the Simpsons too, man. I watch it with them. It's something we bonded over from the time they were babies. I mean, we really like it. And in a way, some people kind of say, and I kind of gathered this myself, is that my life is kind of like Homer Simpson's in a way. Like, not a lot of people really know what I do in an obscure job. You know, it seems like I'm always doing stuff on Facebook or always, not supposed to be at work doing random things. My daughter played a saxophone. I have exactly 3 kids.
Saxophone. Does she really?
She did for 1 year.
Saxophone.
I like drinking and driving. Not anymore, but I did. I smoked pot like Homer did. I met all kinds of famous people like Homer did. Random situations. I kind of am Homer Simpson almost.
You're not Ralph Wiggum.
Have I ever missed an episode? I have. I was touching that a little bit earlier, Brian. I've been pretty much the last 3, 4, 5 years. I haven't really watched much of it just because, time constraints, and I probably should really get back into it and check it out again.
Now,
to be honest with you.
We cannot talk about The Simpsons. I know you're talking about Hank Azaria and Dan Castellaneta characters, but we need to talk about Ralph Wiggum a little bit.
We can talk about Wiggum. Is Ralph one of your favorites?
Oh yeah, he's definitely one.
What are some
not my favorite?
What are some of your favorite Ralph lines you remember off the top of your head?
What about when Superintendent Chalmers?
Let's just think about that one.
Hi, Principal Skinner. Hi, Super Nintendo Chalmers.
When they're getting the Colecos, C-A-T.
Yeah. What about like when Lisa? He has a crush on Lisa. He's trying to talk to her, but she's too smart for him. And he's like, "My cat's name is Mittens. My cat's name is Mittens."
I like the Valentine's Day episode. Do you choose me?
Me feel English? That's impossible.
It tastes like burning.
It tastes like burning.
One of my. Do you remember the one where they went to the expo? And Marge was like, "It's okay, Ralph." And he was talking to his dad. He's like, "Help! She's touching my special area."
What was he talking about? Like he saw something like,
"I see a criblet, right? I see a goblin. He tells me to burn things."
He tells me to burn. What was he talking about? Like he saw a cat in the outside. He goes, "There's a cat." And he looked at me. There was a cat and there was another cat. And they started to have babies. And
I think that was the episode when Skinner and Krabappel first got it.
That's what it was.
And they're in the closet. He's like,
"Yeah, that's what it was."
Principal Skinner and Mrs. Krabappel were in the closet making babies.
Babies, one of them looked at me.
One of the babies looked at me.
Remember one of my favorite lines was from it was actually from a Simpsons movie, and then Bart Simpson got butt naked and started skateboarding, and he skateboarded right by Ralph. Ralph looks at him and goes,
I like men now. I thought that honestly I didn't like that line. I thought that was a little like I think they tried to make Ralph gay, and it's
I thought it was funny.
Well,
because it was random.
Yeah, true. I don't know. In hindsight, it's kind of a shit line, really. Moose Gal, right, or White Chipmunks, right? Simpsons or Family Guy. I like Family Guy. Don't get me wrong, but The Simpsons is always going to be better.
Yeah, it's definitely going to.
It's like comparing, like,
at least in my opinion,
a different world in Cosby Show. I mean, like the Cosby Show is always going to be number one in that genre, And same thing with Simpsons. It's always going to be the best cartoon in my opinion. Like,
exactly. If it wasn't for that show, none of those other shows would exist.
And now a lot of shows can't really do the stuff that like there's only so much, not even the woke stuff. There's only so much material you could do anymore. And now with YouTube and independent shows like this one, live Friday nights every night at 9:30 and on YouTube, that you get so many more minds that you just really can't. The material is just so saturated; it's almost impossible.
Now listen. Now you can argue the fact that there are shows that are like consistently funnier than The Simpsons, which I agree. I'd say South Park is funnier consistently than The Simpsons. You know, it's still pretty funny.
Depends on your angle. I mean, South Park is more risque. I mean, they're more of an R-rated audience.
But as terms of longevity and stuff like that.
I mean, in terms of comedic minds, I mean, if you touch them all, you're looking at Seth MacFarlane, Trey Stone, Matt Parker, and Matt Groening. I mean, they all got quite similar minds in terms of the way they do their shows and the offsetting humor, the very self-deprecating humor. The part like, I know what you're thinking. I look like that kind of stuff. That's really funny, man. People really appreciate that. That's why in the cartoons you can get away with so much more because the actors aren't aging. Yeardley Smith does Lisa's voice. She could be fucking 30 or 70. She still do the same voice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think cartoons. That's where another groundbreaking thing The Simpsons did was that it just made cartoons able to be mainstream, man. You like in the past you couldn't have. I mean, you had like the Flintstones was on prime time and it was very safe shit. The Flintstones was based off Jackie Gleason and the Honeymooners and all that. Mm-hmm. So it was like right there. It's kind of a parody. The Simpsons was where no show ever went before. When it first came out, man, it was controversial. Like they, the way. I mean, it's still funny how. I mean, like you couldn't do a show now where a dad chokes the son. It would just no way.
Because you would never think of a cartoon being geared towards an adult. When you think of cartoons, you think of cutesy wootsy type stuff. So that was like the first cartoon. Well, of course, Hoover and Roger Rabbit was an adult type cartoon, but
Moose Rates. What about the Simpsons movie? I like the Simpsons movie. I really did.
The Simpsons movie?
Yeah, there were some parts I didn't like. Homer was the first beginning part, from
Spider.
Until they went to Alaska. He was kind of a dick to Marge, man. He was really over the top dickish in that movie.
That was the one where he had a pig.
Yeah, Spider Pig. Spider Pig
does whatever a Spider Pig does. Spins a web. No, we can't.
I like when he first go to Alaska. Welcome to Alaska. Here's $2,000. We give our citizens money every year to ravage our government, to allow the natural resources companies to ravage our government. Here's the poster of Alaska. Wow, this is awesome. When he's driving, he crashes the car.
Do you have a favorite one-off character, a character that was only in like a few episodes?
Oh, I've got a bunch of them. I like to lay at Itchy and Scratchy Land, who was like, what's Itchy and Scratchy? Or it's like, what's Itchy and Scratchy money? It's just like regular money, but it's fun. Okay, I'll take $1,100 worth. And then he leaves the Itchy and Scratchy booth and goes right to the front. There's like 15 signs that say, we do not accept Itchy and Scratchy dollars.
I think the all-time greatest one-off character was Homer's boss. Remember when he moved away in the
Hank Scorpio?
Hank Scorpio turned out to be a supervillain.
That was one of the best rated episodes ever.
Yeah, that was a good show. Well, when he threw the shoe at somebody, he goes, I bet you never saw anybody throw a shoe at somebody before. Oh yeah, once.
My favorite part about the Hank Scorpio episode when he goes to work for Globex Corporation is when he's like, well, there's Marianne's Hammocks, that's on 3rd. And then he lists all the hammock places like, oh, the Hammock District.
The Hammock District, right. What was that city that they moved to?
That was Cypress Creek.
That's it.
It's in Cypress Creek, upstate somewhere.
And then everything started like just going downhill.
Right, and then eventually he's like fucking just beating off the invading mob. Mm-hmm. And then James Bond is sitting there like this, look at you, Mr. Bond. For no reason, he's just getting blasted. Mm-hmm. Then Bond escapes the situation, and then immediately some guy punches him. 5 people just fucking unload with machine guns. That was one of the best scenes ever in The Simpsons that nobody ever really knows. I mean, they kind of noticed, but like unless you pay attention, it's so fucking funny. Just the way they made fun of Bond in that one, man. So
yeah, they did a good job, like poking fun at like pop culture.
Oh, the whole time. I mean,
pop culture references all over the place.
if you think about just the way The Simpsons came about, it was all about pop culture, man. It was involved in it from the beginning, and all the guest stars through the years. And you had Michael Jackson, every single living Beatle, besides obviously Lennon was dead, was on there. Fucking the Ramones, the Pumpkins, Green Day.
Now, for whatever reason, you talk about banned stuff earlier, stuff they banned earlier. Mm-hmm. The episode where Michael Jackson did a voice of it. Remember, he got committed to it. Yeah. For whatever reason, that's considered a controversial episode. Maybe because of Michael Jackson being in it, but they actually pulled that from Disney Plus.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have the entire Simpsons library except that one. Stark Raving Dad, episode 1, season 3.
That was 1-3? Are you sure that was that early?
Episode 1, season 3. I'm telling you, look it up.
Ralph is.
You look it up right now, and if I'm wrong, you can call me out.
That wasn't season 3. That wasn't season 1.
It was not season. I never said it was.
Oh, season 3. Okay, I never
said season 3, episode 1 is what I said.
All right, we got a couple more. Mo Sizlak is also another Azaria character. Mo is
we just talked about
Mo. Snake the Jailbird. That's a good one, man. Snake is so fucking funny, man.
No.
Yeah, it's not a good situation.
Busty.
The way he's got his fucking cigarettes rolled. If you talk about one-off characters, do you remember Snake's girlfriend, Shauna, I think it was? She was so fucking good, man. That was a great fucking character. It looks like on Friday Night Throwdown, Jimmy C and Blake TV and Marion.
What's this Throwdown all about?
Oh, it's Blake TV is another YouTuber. He just does the same thing we do. They just get around and get drunk and shit. So where do you, let's see, in my view, some of the best Simpsons are Mogan's and prank calls. That was good, man. That was only the first 4 or 5 seasons. They kind of ran out of jokes when they would do that. The recurring. My favorite one was when they were doing it was the original Flaming Moe's when they first came up with the concept for the They put the cough syrup in there and they lit it on fire and blew it out. But when he calls it with the bars pack, he's like, could I talk to a huge ass? And then he's like, hi, this is huge ass.
right.
I'm going to be level with you, sir. This is a prank call, and it just went horribly wrong. Oh, okay, thank you much. Nice fella. Also, let's see, there's Superintendent Chalmers. We already talked about Chalmers. And then Skinner, Akira, and Arthur.
We talk about Chalmers.
Did we talk about Chalmers?
There's not much to talk about anyway.
Right, and Chalmers is so funny, though, because he's always, like, paying so much. I mean, he obviously has other schools, but he's always at Springfield Elementary, man. And he's, I like the way he's always, what's funny about the teachers is how they're all single in every episode, except like Mrs. Hoover. But like everybody is, just dating each other and whatnot. Skinner's a Vietnam vet. He would have been retired long ago now. I mean, if you look at the one episode, he was born in 1950. So he'd been 74 now. I like the one when they said, God, I can't forget his name now. It's Seymour Skinner. 1950 to 2010. He's like, did you really have to estimate the year of my death? Mm-hmm. So where do you think The Simpsons is going to go, man? You got 2 more years on the contract they just signed. So, I mean, do you think it can even, do you think this is it? There was an article in the year.
It should have been 8 years ago, dude.
In the year maybe it was the year 99 or 2000, somewhere really early on in the beginning of the century, there's an article in the New York Times joking about how the Simpsons was still going to be on the air in 2029, and man, we're really getting close to that. Really getting close. I mean, if you think about their ages, Bart would be 3 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. Homer would be 70. Grandpa would be dead. Mm-hmm. Chalmers would be dead. Seymour Skinner would probably be pushing it.
Right.
Filing for VA benefits and shit.
Flanders would probably be
long gone.
He was 60 in 1998 or whatever.
He'd be fucking 80 something now.
Yeah.
So would you say, let's get into the ultimate of it. Out of the voice, the characters voiced by Azaria and the ones voiced by Castellaneta, who would you say is your favorite out of all these? These are, in my opinion, these are the 2 most, obviously most voiced characters in The Simpsons. So,
well, Homer for sure.
You go with Castellaneta. Man, I just love Azaria's characters, and I just like Azaria. Castellaneta's he's a great actor, and he's a great voice.
I thought you were talking about
just in terms of the voices they do in the characters.
I thought you were talking about what my favorite voice would be.
Well, yeah, you can say.
I thought you were talking about who's my favorite character between the 2, but I'd say Homer was my favorite character. But in terms of talent, I thought Hank Azaria was a better voice actor.
Yeah, because most of Castellaneta's characters are kind of You know, either
Like-
Homer or around the same or easy
Like
access.
Homer is definitely my favorite character. But Azaria, talking about well-rounded, talking about more of a, you know, I thought he was a more talented voice actor.
Oh yeah, he just the
than
range of
Castellaneta.
voices he did was just
Yeah,
so
because his
big.
range was a little better than because Castellaneta kind of did the same. We got like a little lazy. Like he would use the same voice for the blue hair lawyer and Arnie Pie in the Sky, the news reporter. They had like the exact same.
Oh, I remember when they made fun of that in one episode. Don't you sound just like Arnie Pie in the Sky?
Yeah.
That's great, man. So next week we have my buddy Carmen DeFranco's coming on. There's a movie called The Enormity of Life that's coming out. We're going to talk all about that. Have some people from the movie on there. I don't know who exactly is going to be on there, how we're going to work it, but it's going to be fun next week. So be sure to join us live next week. We'll me and Pat will be in studio hopefully, and maybe Big Don will be back. We'll see what's going on, but we got exciting guests and shit like that coming up, man. So definitely be on the lookout, man. Thanks everybody for coming out. Pat, take us home, bud.
Remember, guys, from every Friday night from 9:30 to 11.
Do you have to?
I do not. Isn't it that built-in? Yeah, one.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
I know.
All right, guys, we're leaving now. Sorry, I thought the stream ended. Holler back next week. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.